until showtime.
Good evening, everybody. This is Chris, IMTN Worldwide Radio. I'm trying to come back a little bit on the radio side of things. Around the ATL is going to air in just a few moments. Stay tuned.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is Chris, IMTN Worldwide Radio, and this is Around the ATL. We are live for the first time since January, 646-652-4479. We're live on Blog Talk Radio as well. As you can see, I got my old New Pack City shirt on. I like old stuff, I guess, and I just decided to wear this tonight. 646-652-4479 is the number. I will be monitoring the radio show. So if you want to call in, definitely do that. We'll put you on. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you message us online there, and we will respond back to you. We have a few topics that we will be talking about. I guess we'll put them up in a little bit. But definitely go ahead and call into the show, 646-652-4479. I'll put you on hold. The basketball game is happening right now. It's a big one. It's an important one. The Atlanta Hawks versus the Wizards. Of course, we had a disappointing loss last night against the Toronto Raptors, which we just can't seem to beat. But right now, it looks like the Hawks are looking to take control, pull away. Trey has woken up. He has 27-11 now. Teams playing. They're hustling. They know this game was important. And +2 is the final home game of the season. So it's good that they did not let this team come back and actually beat them. Trey just shot and hit another three-pointer. Trey had to make sure he hit his 30 points and 11 assists, of course. Right? And all right, cool. So this season for the Hawks, I'll just go ahead and start off. Actually, no, I'll start Usually I would present some of the pages and online sources that we usually kind of dip into a little bit. Not going to do that tonight. Tonight was pretty much an impromptu show. Tonight, because of the storms and everything, I didn't even know if I was going to have power or not. So definitely I'm thankful that we were able to get on. Also, I'm waiting for my co-host, Mr. Jordan Jackson, as well. So we're basically just going right into it. So the Atlanta Hawks season has been one of turmoil. I'll say that. That's a good word to use. 38 losses says that, right? Not having one of the top 6 seeds will tell you that based off of last year. And even though we did have injuries this year and we had COVID and things of that nature, I still say there's no excuses for us to have 38 losses with the talent that we have on the team. Everybody wasn't hurt, right? So do we have enough is going to be the question. Do we get into this playoff play-in scenario and then get a playoff seed and then be able to win a series with what we have going on per the rotations, per the current scheme and philosophies that we have going on right now? Is it enough? Now, this last 2 weeks or so, the Hawks have played their best basketball of the season, obviously, per their record, especially at home. Their home record has helped them out a lot in this stretch over the last month or so. But can they win on the road? And that's going to be the thing. They can win at home. They've proven that. But since they know they're not going to have home court, they're going to have to win games on the road. You know, last year we were losing games at home in the playoffs. So it's kind of vice versa. Can we really take this home court advantage to that level that we can't be beat at home in the playoffs and then be able to steal that proverbial one on the road? We know we're not going to have any home court advantage in any series that we potentially will play this year. So that's going to be a big deal. Then at that point, it's going to be players and your coaching staff. Will they be able to do enough, combined? Let's see what happens here. And rebound. I notice Clinton didn't get back in the game. Is he hurt? I didn't watch this whole game. I've been kind of busy today. So I'm not sure why he hasn't returned. I don't know if that's just a method thing per the lineups, things of that nature. Gallows looks like he's been playing pretty well. 3 minutes to go. Trey has the ball, screen, Big O, and still turnover. Yep, turnover. Wizards ball. A little play-by-play for y'all there. 646-652-4479. Let me go over to the radio, just make sure there's no one holding on there. We haven't done radio in such a long time. It's still getting used to the regularity of it. We don't know when we're going to be able to do regular shows again. We wanted to try to get something out tonight. We're not even going to do 2 hours tonight. We can't do it, unfortunately. But I wanted to get on, talk some Hawks, talk some Falcons, talk some Braves. So much has happened since January. Again, that was the last time we've been on the air. So we wanted to, bring up some topics, things of that nature. I'm trying to wait for my co-host to jump in to where we can kind of get in depth. So if you're watching here, definitely make sure you message on the message board. Feel free. And or if you're listening to Blog Talk Radio, call in 646-652-4479. Let us know what you're thinking about the Hawks, Braves, Falcons. Those are the main topics we're going to discuss tonight. Also, since it is in Georgia, the Masters starts tomorrow. Tiger Woods, y'all might play. We'll see. I don't know. He hasn't made it official as far as I can tell. Let's go back to the Hawks game. It looks like they are in a timeout. I don't know. It's froze. No. Yeah, they're in a timeout. I hate Valley Sports. I'm just letting y'all know. I hate it. It's just, it freezes, it disappears. I don't know what they're doing over there. Sometimes it's not even worth it. And I just watch it on, the score, the box score, because I can't stand Valley sometimes. But anyway, so will the Hawks have enough? It's great when people are hitting their shots, but as I've mentioned online and posted on Twitter and everything, by the way, I guess I can post up the Twitter page real quick for both myself and Jordan. Here we go. If shots are not going in, do we have an alternative, especially going into the playoffs? We've seen way too many times where players shoot us out of games. They're 1 for 7, 1 for 8 from 3-point, line, and nothing stops them from shooting it. They don't have the wherewithal or self-awareness, and the coaching staff is not telling them to stop. When we should be driving every time, driving and kicking, and or pick and roll to death until they stop it. And I mentioned on another page this afternoon, we don't set actual screens to create a shot. Setting a screen just to move a person off of you is not my definition of a real good screen. I need to be setting the screen to where my shooter gets an open shot because of the screen itself. Draymond Green is really good at that. And I'm like, we have more than enough shooters on our team to where we should have like 10 plays like that every night at minimum, just because. When I played basketball, I took pride in setting a screen for my shooters. You didn't know when I was going to set that screen. I'm going to do an RKO type of a screen. RKO out of nowhere, screen out of nowhere type of screen. Trey just shot another three. He missed that one up. There's 2 minutes left in the game. So it looks like we got this one wrapped up. So that's good. But I just would like to see them not stand around on offense and just wait for Trey to do something. We self-create, traps on Trey all the time because they know we're not going to move as a team. So they come and make that double team happen because they know, depending on the person, they're not going to slip through most of the time and cut. Nobody's cutting to the basket either. No one's giving him a lane. Trey is the best passer in the league, and he should be having 20 assists a night. But we're fumbling the bag on that, and this is upsetting because we should – the times that we're hitting shots, that's great. But when you're not hitting shots, it's a problem. 646-652-4479. Looks like I got my co-host on. Let's see if we can bring him on in here. Florian, how you doing, sir?
Chris, what's up, sir? Oh, man, ripping and running, sir, and checking out these Hawks. And looks like these guys are going to get a win here. And hopefully we've got a chance to get to this 7th seed.
Well, we've got to see what the Knicks end up doing. I guess I could check the score now because this game is pretty much over. So let's see the ticker. Well, no. 110-98. The Nets win. So
110?
I don't know where it came from. I looked at the score twice. I was like, does this really? Let me hit reset just to make sure, man. I have to do it.
It was like a 2-point game with like 30 seconds to go.
Can't depend on the Knicks. Yes, 110-98. That's the final.
110-98.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm a little baffled by that.
Oh, well. But I was just kind of broaching the subject of the Hawks at first. I was going to kind of ticker tape through, some of the other possible topics we might talk about tonight. Will the Falcons be able to build a contender? What will be the impact of Matt Ryan not being here? Will the Hawks have a deep playoff run? Can the Braves win the World Series again? And last, will Tiger play in the Masters tomorrow? So those are just a few that we can kind of jumble through a little bit. I guess let's talk Hawks since that is the time of the night because the Hawks just beat the Wizards. So I was talking about defense primarily. I kind of don't want to talk about last night's game. I just want to talk in general a little bit, in regards to do we have enough to be able to have a playoff run, and can we get consistent somewhat with some kind of a scheme on offense to where if we're not hitting shots, do we have an alternative to do something else rather than just shooting the shots? And then where will we find the discipline to not overhelp, to block out, to call out screens and rotations and everything? Because those are the things that hurt us every single time. And again, we have 38 losses to prove it at this point. So again, a game like tonight was a must win, and we've had a nice little streak up till now. But do you think it's sustainable? What do you think, Jordan?
I really don't. It's hard to say, Chris, with this team, to be honest with you, because this team is so Jekyll and Hyde. But the good thing about the Jekyll and Hyde part of it is we actually usually play our best against the best teams. So that does give you some hope. Now, Can we make a deep playoff run? I think we can. But with that said, I am not as high on the team as I was last year. After last season, obviously, because I'm still shocked that we're even in the position we're in. I'm shocked that we having a possibly potential play in a 1-game elimination to start the postseason. I had predicted the Hawks would be the number 2 seed in the East after what happened last year. After the momentum we played a 58 game.
I had them 3.
Yeah, we played a 58 win pace from March 1st to the end of last season up under Nate, who had just taken over at the time, and then went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Probably would have won if it wouldn't be for Mr. Sean Wrong putting his foot in the way of Trey. And so I really was not expecting us to be in this position. With that being said, a lot of the guys that we have, they haven't really developed like I thought that they were going to develop. You know what I mean? In particular, now of course Cam is gone, and DeAndre, I've been iffy on his play a lot lately. In fact, quite disappointed at a lot of things that he's doing out there. But despite all of our deficiencies, we certainly have a shot to have a deep playoff run because we got a man named Trae Young.
Yeah.
And I will tell you something, that guy is a bad man. And the best part about him is he can pick you apart either scoring or passing. You know what I mean? When the shot is off, he's still setting other guys up. And so, with that being said, he's the best offensive player in the entire NBA right now. I don't want to hear anything else because while you may have guys that are better scorers, there's nobody else that's top 5 in the NBA in points and assists per game, top 2 in the NBA in total points and total assists. So, sir, we absolutely have a shot. That's because we have Trae, the one-man gang Young.
646-652-4479. Tonight, Trae was 8 for 17, 3 for 9 from 3, hit almost all of his free throws except for 1, had 11 assists for his 30-point night. The aforementioned Hunter was 3 for 13 tonight. Pretty tough. Had 10 points. Kevin had another off night after having some great night shooting, had 5 points tonight. Bogey had 18, pretty decent shooting as opposed to the other night. He was 6 for 13, 6 for 9 from 3, couldn't miss tonight. So he definitely helped out. Gallo being back in the lineup definitely helped, had 26 points. He played almost the whole game tonight. He played 39 minutes tonight. So don't want him doing that all the time, of course, but,
he was huge tonight, sir. He was huge tonight. Having him back tonight was huge.
Man. Oh, yeah.
Because one thing about Gallo is he can get his shot off over anybody. I mean, really, and this might sound crazy to say, but Gallo is one of the better shot makers this league has ever seen. I know a lot of people don't think about him like that or what have you, because he's not a superstar. But when it comes to just finding a way to get your shot off against no matter who the defense is, Gallo is one of the best at it, sir. So having him back is definitely huge. And I don't want to forget about or fail to mention John Collins, our guy who's been on the show. If we can get him back, I feel a lot better about our chances. I just don't know, man, because when we saw that picture of his hand, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a knuckle that was swollen that big.
If that doesn't go, I mean, just as a shooter, I'm just trying. I mean, when you think about him trying to play like that weeks ago now, and what you have to do to make a shot happen, I don't know how he is even really trying to do it in the first place, much less the swollen part itself. But if there was any kind of pain, that's every time he's trying to shoot the ball, basically, on top of just how the ball, even just all the grip and everything is just different. So you being able to shoot like that and put anything in the basket would have been a miracle, really, over a period of time. That's not something you would normally play with, and he at least tried to. But along with the other foot thing too. So, I mean, I hope he heals because, of course, with him back on the team, that makes us triple deep all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, and more than just adding depth, with John, you get consistency, man. With John, you're pretty much going to get the same guy almost every night. It's very rare that John has a dud game, where he just shoots terrible and doesn't score too many points, and if he does, he's usually going to get some rebounds. He just brings a lot to the table. And, despite all the different guys we've drafted, and I was told that certain people were the next Kawhi and all of this other stuff, But throughout all of that, John Collins has still been our second best and our second most consistent ball player throughout all of it.
And one of our best shooters too. Like from the floor, he hits his shots. Like that's the one guy you can depend on. He's not missing. The one time he missed all of his shots, you saw what his hand looked like. That's what he was playing with. He had the worst shooting night ever. It's like that can't be what's going on here. But then when you saw it, it's like, okay, well, now that makes sense now.
Right.
Foot injury too. He was trying to play through both of those injuries simultaneously, and it looked it, but we didn't know until after the fact, of course. So 646-652-4479. Let me check the radio just to make sure. Some of the other notables from tonight's game: Big O was 4 for 5 from the field, had 6 boards, 3 assists, had a steal, had 15 points himself tonight. Wait, that's 8 points. My bad. DeLon had 2 points. No one else played tonight, so kind of kept a short bench tonight. But and Clint had 19 tonight. He was 9 for 11. He
was much better finishing tonight.
So that definitely helped us, cut into what Washington was trying to do tonight to us. You know how they like to play. I mean, they play hard no matter who's on that team. We always have problems with Ish Smith for some reason. He likes to play us hard for whatever reason. But it was a big game. It was our last home game for the year. So that was good to win that game. And it'll have some momentum going into these last games. I think, is it Miami first, then Houston, or is it vice versa?
I will let you know in just a second, sir. I want to say it's Miami first, but I will have that exact answer for you in just a second. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my tablet.
No, you're good. You're good. So again, is this we want to see the best of the Hawks, and we still really haven't seen. We've seen
it is Miami. It is Miami. Follow on the 8th, followed by the Rockets on the 10th to end it all.
In the season. So I don't know. We're going to see a whole bunch of Miami Heat regulars. More than likely not. But,
I've heard that we are, according to something I read on Twitter yesterday, from one of the official NBA accounts. They were saying that is going to be the last game that Miami plays their starters, and then they'll rest. They either got one more or 2 more games after that. They're going to rest after that game and get ready for the postseason. So apparently, we will see their regulars, which I mean, it's probably better for us anyway because we need to tune up. You know what I mean? We need to continue to go against the best, because if we don't land 7th or 8th, we're going to be facing a winner go home scenario likely against Charlotte to start the playoffs. So we need to be facing the best in that scenario. Plus, it'd be good to get a look at those guys because if we end up with the AC, that's what we'll probably be playing to start off the postseason as well.
Well, maybe Kayvon can dunk on Jimmy Butler again or something. We'll see what happens. So, let's segue into one of our other teams in Atlanta for a moment. We know, and I mentioned in our beginning, we've been gone for a while. So a lot of stuff has happened in the city of Atlanta when it comes to sports. And one of those is the departure of Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons. He's no longer here.
Wow.
And it's still, even me saying that, it's still weird. It's like, maybe if I close my eyes and I open them back up again, maybe something happened in the Matrix. I don't know. But Matt Ryan is no longer an Atlanta Falcon. He was traded some time ago now. He is an Indianapolis Colt now. He's in blue. And in his place, we have options, I'll just say right now. Because we don't know who's starting just yet. Because there's nothing official, supposedly. So, impact-wise, where I'll let you go first. Besides just the shock of it and everything like that, what do you think short-term, long-term impact of Matt Ryan not being Atlanta Falcon anymore is?
Wow. I mean, it definitely was very shocking, man. Especially the way the whole Deshaun Watson situation went down. And it was quite disappointing because it already was a polarizing situation. But all the reports and stuff were saying that Watson was coming here, and for him to not come here and them to kind of alienate Matt and decide to go ahead and let Matt go elsewhere. And they said Matt Ryan did have the option, of course, to stay, but he chose at that point to go ahead and go. And I mean, obviously, Matt was prepared to finish his career here. But once he realized that the team was prepared to move on from him, then he chose the option to go, and you can't blame him for that. Short term, the impact to me is that we're rebuilding. I know Mariota is a veteran, but man, I just don't know. Not only that is this team just still doesn't have the cap space. We took a $40 million cap hit to trade Matt Ryan, so we don't really have the cap space to go and get any premium free agent. It's been a lot of one-year deal type signings, some of which I like. The rest of them are pretty much all Chicago Bears. But I think it does mean that we're rebuilding, and I think what it means is that we're going to be in the market for a new franchise quarterback in the draft either this year or next year. Now, a lot of people know this year's draft class is not the best, and there are two teams potentially above us, Detroit at number 2 and Carolina at number, I think they're 6, that could take quarterbacks. So we may end up having to defer that decision to next year, and I'm quite fine with that, to be honest with you, because I believe they need to continue to build this team, and especially the offensive line, to give whoever the next quarterback is the best shot to be successful. But I'm going to tell you something, Chris. I'm going to be honest with you right here. If they do not get this quarterback draft pick right whenever they draft one, we will be the NFC version of what you've seen of the Jets and the Jaguars in recent years. And we don't want to be that. So it's imperative, of the utmost importance, that they pick the right guy to be our next quarterback.
Well, it just goes to show you what happens when you don't build correctly. And there is a correct way and an incorrect way to do it. And we have 50 years to prove that in the NFL. With our legacy, some of the legacy franchises that have done very well decade after decade after decade. And you hit it on the nail with the offensive line. If you didn't want to do it I shouldn't say that. You didn't do it for Matt Ryan for whatever reason, whether it be competency, money, whatever you want to call it. For all the other main franchises with the top quarterback, they did right by that quarterback by making sure they didn't get hit. They had time to throw. Every quarterback needs time to throw. I don't care who they are. So if you didn't do it for Matt, whoever comes in next, you have to do it this time, no matter what, no holds barred. Otherwise, like you said, we're poised to be nothing, basically. And I don't know if this is a rebuild. We're going to find out how deep it is soon per the draft, because this is the most important draft for the next 50 years, basically. But if they really mess up, this could be a franchise. I don't know about getting sold or anything, but it could be that drastic, because where this fan base has been all these years, and you have people who still are going to have to get season tickets, right? And they're paying for parking, and they're paying for food and all these things, and TV. Eventually, you're not going to have it, And so this is a big deal, and whether or not they get a quarterback this year or next year, some of the quarterbacks this year, again, you could always talk about the arm, but the arm means nothing if it doesn't get to the receiver, right? And do we have enough in this draft to say, let's make a deal, let's do it? Or next year, where you do have even more quarterbacks probably available to where you can hone one in and say, this could be the guy for the next decade or so. Don't know who that is quite yet, but we have so many holes that have to be filled still. And
exactly,
we have had some progress, at least from what the previous regime had put us in the position to say, if they're able to piece this together, even if it's piecemeal, yes, it's depending on a lot of things going right. These players actually have to produce. The coaching staff have to continue to, push these guys. And we saw some of that last year. We saw coaching last year. Right? So we saw improvements in certain things. We just didn't have the players to match up to an extent. Do we have that coming in this year with the free agents that we've signed? We have half the Chicago Bears team. We know the joke so far, right? But will some of them kind of come to fruition to where, we'll have to see. And, on the defensive side, on the offensive side, we know we got all these different wide receivers. Will any of them be able to catch the ball? Again, that kind of goes into who's throwing it, right? And on the defensive side, can we get stops? Can we get pressure? Can we tackle? All those basics again come up to play, and I don't know yet. And I think this is going to come down to the draft at this point and who they get at number 8. And that's going to dictate everything that happens after that. I don't think they trade up, obviously. I see more of them trading down possibly than trading up.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend trading up, sir, because we just got too many holes to be giving up a bunch of draft picks to be moving up in this draft. Yeah, I just wouldn't do it. And obviously, when guys leave, they're guys that can and will step up. And it's going to depend on what level certain replacements step up as to what this football team is going to do. Now, I did see Pro Football Focus, who does the grading system. And according to them, we have lost the most talent over the offseason in terms of, what they're expected to impact winning. And, of course, a big part of that is Matt, who's always one of the most steady, highest grading quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm a Matt Ryan guy. You're a Matt Ryan guy. I know a lot of people hated on Matt Ryan or whatever for some reason. Like someone said recently on Twitter that he's got to be the most controversial athlete that's never actually done anything controversial. But with that being said, man, he was a great Falcon, man, one of the best Falcons to ever play for the franchise. My only regret is that he's leaving here without that ring, man, because he should have that ring. Really, to be honest with you, the Falcons had at least 3 teams that were in position to win when he was there. You had the Harry Douglas slip and fall in 2012. We all know about 2016. I'm not even going to talk about that. And then the very next season, when Mr. Keanu O'Neal decided to play soccer with the football in the middle of the field with a ball he should have intercepted, and we lost, 17-10 or 17-9? Right. When we lost to the Eagles that very next year, that was the only year that Matt Ryan actually had a top 10 defense. And I maintain, and I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse, but I maintain that really what killed that season more than anything else was Dan Quinn deciding to pass over Matt LaFleur, who was already our quarterbacks coach, who already knew Kyle Shanahan's offense, to bring in Sark, Steve Sarkisian, and then to ask Sark to run Kyle Shanahan's offense. To me, had he just elevated Matt LaFleur, because really our defense was good and our offense actually had took a step back. Had he just elevated Matt LaFleur, I don't think we really missed a beat, and I do believe we would have won the Super Bowl that year.
We went completely backwards for no reason. You basically have to reset and then say, okay, well, this will get better in the second year, and we didn't have to go through all that, and it just 7-9, and just and then besides that, your decision-making capability to adjust during a game, it was just very apparent he can't do it. And then if this is his defense, again, I've been saying this for years, he still felt he had the Legion of Boom back there, and we don't have none of those players. But that was the same defense he kept on running for some reason, and it didn't work. And it just spiraled after that, of course, and we know what happened last year with, the year before last with our records. So Matt not being able to finalize that part of his career is definitely disappointing, because he was definitely loyal to the team. And a lot of people don't care about that, obviously, in these days and times. They just see glitz and glamour and all this kind of stuff, but they don't see what actually goes into making a real team happen. And they dissuade all of that for us. All they see is this right here, tunnel vision. And if this guy can't run fast, let's talk. And if he can't throw it far, supposedly, he ain't no good. But I'm like, that's why I wrote that article in regards to, well, look at all these guys who can run fast and throw far, and none of them have Super Bowls somehow. I'm wondering, how is that possible? That must be something wrong with the NFL. Why didn't the NFL allow those guys to win a Super Bowl? I'm just asking. We were
told that's all we needed to win. That's all what we were told.
And I looked at, I mentioned how, the Denver Broncos didn't shun John Elway in his prime when they were going to Super Bowls but didn't win. But then he won 2 in a row when he was old. Mostly why? He had the best running game in one of the best running games in NFL history and top whatever defense. And they won back-to-back Super Bowls. You know, Manning won one with a broken neck, basically, right? He didn't do nothing in his Super Bowl, but they rolled on through there, didn't they? And I'm like, but Matt don't deserve the chance to kind of finish out because the team actually built the team around him to actually help him win. Because again, it's all about the team. There's no one player has ever won a Super Bowl by themselves. Otherwise, Aaron would have 15 Super Bowls right now. Right? I'm just saying. So anyway, it's disappointing how it ended. We're going to have to kind of see how things go because now, again, we don't know whose team this is yet. It could be Felipe Frank's team for all we know. I'm just saying who wins the job because they said that it's not a lock in that Mariota, I guess his name is now, is actually running back. I'm just saying.
Mariota, according to the Island Boys.
Gotta pronounce it correctly, apparently. Otherwise, you get in trouble and the FCC comes in and everything, right? But
one quick point though, Chris.
Go ahead.
If I could, you mentioned a second ago about how it is important for them to get it right because you got to think about ticket sales and all of that. One thing I will say that I think has hurt this franchise, and I've heard this from several people who attend games regularly. I think the whole PSL deal has hurt this franchise because I think it priced a lot of loyal, true fans out of season tickets. And even for a person like myself, I noticed that when I go to look at single game tickets that are being resold, they're all way more expensive than they used to be because the season tickets who are putting their tickets on the block, they're having to add for that PSL into those individual prices. And so I understand that business model has been successful for some other franchises, but every city is different. Every fan base is different. Plus, we're in a different time now after COVID-19 and different things where, plus you got inflation going on, gas is high and everything else. A lot of people just don't have as much extra money that they used to have prior to all of this to drop on season tickets or on individual game tickets. So I really think, Uncle Arthur, he needs to look at that model and see what he could do because I'm just like I said, I've heard from so many people that the atmosphere is not quite the same as it was before all of that. Yeah, and when we were playing in the Georgia Dome.
That's a big point. 646-652-4479. If you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, make sure you call in. I am checking, make sure we have any callers. You can call in and ask us a question. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can message us. Right now we're talking Falcons football. That did change a lot of the atmosphere, seriously. Like just the letters PSL, and then people had to look it up. Because really, when you think about it, now I might be wrong, but I'm just thinking about when it first came about that this was how it was going to be. I don't know if it was really eased in. I think it was like, boom, this is how it is now. Am I wrong? So I think if they had planned it a little bit better as far as rolling it out and explaining it and things of that nature, that would have been a little bit better than basically saying, okay, you're going to have to give up your firstborn, basically. Okay. And I just think that put a bad taste in most people's mouths per the situation of where the team was, especially still and things of that nature. And just it turned off a lot of people at the end of the day. And I don't know if you can recover. Now, again, it's like, think about these last few seasons, and even though we did, improve a little bit last year, is it enough to get people to be like gun ho? But then the best franchise quarterback is gone now, and you're really putting everything on one or two quarterbacks that really haven't really done anything in the league. That's asking a lot. So are people really prepared for a 2-17 season? I don't know if people are really ready for that right now. I don't know if we're going to be that bad. But you just never know when you have a huge transition like this and a lot of unknowns. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And again, like you said, the model might not be what Atlanta needs right now. Especially you had the people who thought we were going to get Watson. Just that group right there, you pretty much lost them, for all intents and purposes, right? So now everybody's looking at the draft and saying, okay, well, we got to get this. We got to get Willis. Or we at least got to get Riddler, or we got to get, Ritter? We got to get Ritter, Or okay, well,
Yeah, Riddler, you're right.
plural.
You got it right the first time.
Yeah,
I think it's Ritter. Yeah, Desmond Ritter. And then the other guy is Kenny Pickett.
Pickett, Coral. It's just a matter of it's a lot to ask, because of the money investment. Like you said, there's not as much of disposable income as it was. Milk is expensive, man. You know what I'm saying? You just think about that. So, it's going to be different. The atmosphere and it's going to continue to change unless they make a big splash in this draft and those draftees actually really come out to play. Because like you said, we lost a lot of talent. It wasn't just Matt. Fourier is not here anymore. That's huge on the defensive side of the ball, right? We don't have Julio and we don't have Calvin, right? So those are you still have that we have.
Don't have who? Oh, you talking about Pete Rose? Oh, my bad.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I gotta make sure I put down my notes from now on. Didn't mention his name anymore. So anyway, my bad. But yeah, it's going to be tough. And again, remember, it's not just people who live in Atlanta. It's people who travel from another city to Atlanta who have those tickets and things of that nature too, that you have to convince to say, here's why. It's not just this and that and everything, but we are really building for the future and we're going to compete. Because again, teams go 0-17 every year. If you're competing hard and playing your best, cool. It's just that when it don't seem apparent that nobody cares, that's when your difficulties comes in. And that's with any sport, really. Nobody wants to see anybody out there doing stuff on the side because, they got something on it. Again, this is weird. All of a sudden, you're walking backwards. You're a receiver. You're going backwards. You're supposed to be going forwards. That's not cool. That's the essence of sports, and now I know that left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, too.
Yeah. It absolutely did, man. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that they need to do something to change that up. Like I said, they need to do something to get this team back to to the atmosphere that it was at. But main thing, man, we just need to win ball games. Like I said, I have been encouraged by some of the signings, particularly Casey Hayward, the cornerback, and Georgia Bulldog Lorenzo Carter, who's an edge rusher. Zoe had really had a great career to start off with, but he did finish last season strong with 4 sacks in the last 5 games. So I'm hoping, that maybe that could have been the beginning of his breakout, and that he can come and actually make an impact for us. Because goodness knows, Dante Fowler, man, he didn't do much for this football team. He flashed every now and then, but now he's gone. I think you got to go. To me, you got to go edge rush and offensive line in this particular draft, unless, you feel like, maybe Malik Willis is just you're so certain this guy's going to be a franchise quarterback. I do like the kid's talent. He's got a big arm. He can move. And I like the kid's personality, too. I mean, he's a very nice guy, very astute guy, smart guy, already doing stuff in the community. Even in college, you know what I mean, was known for doing that type of stuff and known for doing that type of stuff without a bunch of cameras there. You know what I mean? He's just known for the type of guy that helps people. And, so he could be that guy. But like I said, like you mentioned, we don't need to trade up for anybody. We can't afford to do that. And, like I said, until this team actually builds the trenches the right way, actually has some protection for a quarterback and is able to get to the other team's quarterback, I don't think we'll ever be all that we can be. And I mean, we were pretty darn good in the Matt Ryan era. I mean, a lot of winning seasons, Super Bowl appearance, another NFC Championship game appearance. But in order to truly be the good football team you want to be, you have to be more physical at the point of attack on both sides of the ball. And you got to be able to, like I said, get to affect the other team's quarterback. The game we were playing against San Francisco during the season, I tell you, it was about 2 drives into that game, or maybe halfway through the first quarter. I'm like, man, they're going to have a hard time winning this game, because you could just tell just by watching it, that San Francisco was just so much more ferocious and physical. All of their
you can tell those type of things. You can see it.
All of their blocks were more forceful at the point of attack, and it just popped off the screen. And we can't allow that to continue to happen if we're going to be a winning franchise going forward. So
when you look like you're getting punked, it's obvious to everybody, you know, and eventually you just got to own up to it, you know. And it is, you know, on the defensive side, we can't be a team again that is last in the league in sacks. You know, we can't have one individual lead have more sacks than the whole team again. Looks like we lost Jordan for a second. We can't have that anymore. You know, we can't have it to where all teams can run on us, have 150 yards rushing. You know, we can't continue to have that happen. On the offensive side, we can't continue to have, you know, where we can't run block. We can't get no holes open for whatever running back might be there. You know, we need to have a better running back, of course, to make his own holes, but we still need to be able to say we have something going the other way. And then, of course, you got to protect your quarterback. You can't have your quarterback keep getting hit and think that's a good thing. Russell Wilson is no longer in Seattle because of that, right? Andrew Luck retired because of that. You have a whole bunch of really cool quarterbacks who are not in the league because they kept getting injured, RG3. You see what I'm saying? You know, Lamar Jackson. When's the last time he played in football? You see what I'm saying? At a certain point, all that, you got to be able to stand still and throw the ball and know you're not going to get hit. Tom Brady doesn't run, y'all. You know how many rushing yards Tom Brady gets a year? Not a lot. There's the answer. You see what I'm saying? And he's never been spectacular or exciting or anything. You know how many Super Bowls he's been in? How many he has won? How many division championships he has?
A lot.
Because they protect him. That's the job. You 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys right here. That guy right there. It's like in the mafia. That guy right there. That's a made man.
Yeah.
If he gets touched, you don't have a job anymore, and maybe other stuff is gone too. Right? That's what they say. Right? And that's why you don't see Big Ben getting hit and all these other guys not getting hit. Because they take that serious. And it's like, why can't all teams do that? They can do it. This offensive lineman here, sir, he's trash. Why is he getting money from you? You see what I'm saying? This man can't block nobody. Why is he still on the field? You see what I'm saying? In New England, if you couldn't play, you didn't play. That was it. Like, you go in there and see what you can do. There was no prolonged, well, let's see if we can do it next week. No, the quarterback is dying on the ground in the mud, and you just stand over him, don't even care that he's on the ground. You know what play I'm talking about. So you know what I'm saying?
It actually happened more than once, too.
It's not cool to see on the field. Again, on the defensive side, you can't just have one defensive end somewhere have more sacks than your whole team. That's so embarrassing. Like, this is year after year after year. It's a reputation. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, the cornerback part of it can help that. With some solid cornerback play. You got AJ, of course. Oliver will be back, and with Hayward back there, that's at least 3 guys who are actually going to be covered. So instead of it being, 3 wide receivers open all the time, you might only have this one now. That's a start. That means 1 extra second possibly for the pass rush to maybe get a little bit closer, which means that quarterback is not as comfortable to throw a wide open pass to somebody. So that could help us out. On the rush defense side, I don't know what we're going to do just yet. I'm having to guess that's all going to be in the draft to get that fixed. I don't have that faith and confidence in Dion in there. I don't know. That's going to be a mystery. That's mystery meat right now as far as the run defense as of the moment from last year to this year. But
that's one thing I don't like about the NFL, sir. Now here you have Foye Oluokun, a 6th-round draft pick out of Yale University. And here you develop this guy, and he winds up being, way more than what you expected out of a 6th-round draft pick. But unlike the NBA, where you'd have been able to go over the cap, to re-sign your own guy using bird rights, the NFL doesn't have anything like that. And so here we're having this situation where Jacksonville comes and offers him a boatload of money, and here's one of our guys that we found in the later rounds that we can't even afford to keep, man. And so that's just quite disappointing. Back to the comment you were making about protecting your quarterback. That's very important, sir, and a great point. And I'm going to tell you, that's what I worry about in terms of drafting a quarterback this year. Say you draft a quarterback this year, and you say, okay, Mariota's going to start while he develops. But then say Mariota goes down, and then whoever you draft, Malik Willis, let's say, you feel like he's a better player even early than Felipe Franks is. So you got to put him in there. But the problem with that is, sir, what I worried about is a young quarterback may not be able to handle being hit 100 times like Matt Ryan was hit last year, like the last few years. And so, we saw a situation where David Carr, the brother of Derek Carr, was the number 1 overall pick in Houston. And he set, I want to say, a record for most times sacked over a 2-year time span coming into the league. And he never really caught on as a great quarterback because he started to see ghosts. Like, even if he had a clean pocket, he was rushing right because he's thinking somebody coming around the corner on him. And so we don't want to put a young quarterback in that situation. And that's why I feel like we got to do everything we can to build this line. There's no way that Jalen Mayfield, I understand he started all year last year, but he was terrible. And hopefully that, beating he took will pay off into him being decent, but there should be some competition at the guard position. Same thing with the right tackle position in Caleb McGarry. He's a guy who has never fully caught on. Him and Christian Lindstrom drafted the same year. Christian Lindstrom, outstanding. In fact, Christian Lindstrom was, I want to say, the only guard in the NFL to not even give up a sack at his position last year. We hadn't gotten near those results out of Caleb McGarry. So there needs to be somebody who can at least come in and provide competition. If Mayfield and McGarry beat out the new guys, then maybe that means they're improved. Hopefully that doesn't mean the new guys are terrible too. But definitely got to be some competition at those spots, whether it be draft picks, veterans, or what have you.
We're going to find out. We got a couple more weeks to wait for the draft. And, we're still signing people, but 1-year contract. So we'll see what other holes might get fit to this team over the next couple of weeks going into the draft. Looks like we got a caller. So let's go ahead and pull in our caller for tonight. Let's see. Good evening, caller. Go ahead and tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Gentlemen, it is a pleasure once again to talk to you guys after such a long hiatus. John Harris.
John, what's up?
John, what's up, man?
Man, ooh-wee.
A lot done changed since we last talked to you, sir.
Sir, what was that, sir?
I said a lot has changed since we last spoke to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, it's just like hell froze over, the earth opened up and swallowed up everything that I knew, and the sun is coming up in the south and setting in the west. I'm telling you, this thing is completely flipped. Now, I noticed you guys are talking about the Falcons, so can we deal with that first?
Yeah, go ahead. We're still on it.
Okay. Well, the offensive line, you don't have one. I mean, if these people were turnstiles, everybody would get in the movie free. I mean, you wouldn't have to look. Now, starting from the right-hand side, Caleb McGarry. Now, I don't know what type of medical scouting report was done prior to drafting this man. I don't know what type of in-depth research was done. But this man came in here with a bad oil pump. All right. Now, that scares me to death. Now, and the way that he was playing, now he's a big boy.
Yeah.
The way that he was playing, I'm still not sure that he's 100%. Now, nothing has leaked out from the medical staff. Nothing has come out saying about, his physical condition. But, I mean, no wonder Lindstrom didn't give up any sacks. The sacks was, all he had to do was get around the end. So Lindstrom, wasn't challenged that much. Because on the end, in the middle, and right beside the middle, that's where the leakage was coming from. And that was enough. Because in the beginning of the year last year, there was one play that I saw. Ball was snapped. It was one of those things where ball start on everybody except the left end, because the left end was standing there still in his blocking stand, and everything right of him was in a tornado.
Yeah.
Dead Falcons, his hands looking like dead roaches on the ground. And I mean, how is a running back? And then everybody wants to say that Mike Davis wasn't doing anything. Now, how is a running back supposed to run when you got to step over your own, step around, step past your own offensive lineman just to get out of the backfield? I'm still trying.
Yeah, we need Barry Sanders. We got to have a back that can elude like two guys before he even crossed the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. And I mean, it was just ridiculous. Now, Cordarrelle Patterson at 6'2", I'm thinking he can just see over various things and see stuff breaking down. But see, thing is, one thing that I saw Mike Davis do, he was trying to follow his blocks whenever those were available. That was real rare. And when he would follow his blocks and try to come off the block, they knocked the man out the way and they swallowed him up. And the 800-pound gorilla in the room, this situation with Matt Ryan. Now, Chris, you guys know I have been on his behind ever since he came here about certain things that he never learned how to do as a quarterback. And, Fontenot and Arthur Smith, this was just, I really could not describe just how disjointed and unplanned this was.
Yeah.
Because number one, they should have drafted the quarterback last year. They should have drafted the quarterback last year and had him sitting behind Matt Ryan, not learning from him, just sitting behind him, just ready to go, observing and see what was going on. All right.
I like the Pitts pick, and I think Pitts is going to be a Hall of Fame caliber player. But if you knew you're going to get rid of Matt Ryan, I can see that logic. Problem is, I don't think they knew what they were going to do. That's the problem.
Well, and to your point. Now, was there not some press about Fontenot and Smith not being on the same page as far as the draft was concerned?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
I think I did see a little bit of that, but correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. Terry Fontenot didn't hire Arthur Smith. Arthur Blank and Rich McKay hired Arthur Smith before they hired Terry Fontenot, correct?
That's correct.
And see, that's not the way you're supposed to feel about it.
And see, okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Because let's deal with that for a second. Yes, you guys have that.
Yeah, we got time.
All right. In New York, I will never forget it. New York, the Mara family hired George Young. Told George Young, you got 5 years to put me a champion here. George Young went and hired Parcells. Okay? That's the way that the order of progression is supposed to be. And in talking about this, the question always goes back. Rich McKay, what are you doing? What is your job?
Let's not even get started with what I got to say about that.
Well, my whole thing with him is, how are you a bad GM, but you get promoted to the position to hire GMs?
Yeah. But see, okay. Now, did the search committee hire this GM and this head coach, or was it Rich McKay by himself? Because Rich McKay hasn't done his job since he's been here, if he's president of the organization. Because anytime somebody gets fired, anytime a quarterback, anytime anybody ties their left shoe, Arthur Blank is standing up there at the podium telling what color shoestrings he puts in the shoes. Okay? That's not your job. And this is why I said Arthur Blank needs to step back and be. Now, he's still a good owner. I'm going to still say he's a good owner. Because the owner's job is to sign the check. Your job is to sign the check. Okay? You hire hires the general manager or he hires the coach or whatever. And then you give them contracts according to the time that you got. Okay, if you got 5 years, head coach, you ain't got but 4. General manager, you don't have but 4. And the buck stops at the president. The buck stops at the president. But see, nobody, I mean, Arthur Blank doesn't know anything about football. And you remember when we had about 12 general managers up there? You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. In fact, one of those general managers is a man named Les Snead, who built the Rams championship team, and who has somehow able to continue to sign players and fit all these stars above the salary cap. And he's also been the one to set a precedent for trading away draft picks for talent. Apparently, this guy is a much better general manager than the general manager he was up under here in Thomas Dimitroff. But apparently, we have a problem with recognizing the talent within our own building. See also to that regard, LaFleur, Matt.
Yeah. Delegation is not something that we're good at here.
No. But delegation is definitely needed when you don't know what you're doing. Okay? I mean, right now, Arthur Blank reminds me so much of Ted Turner is just ridiculous.
Oh, man, that's tough right there. Wow.
Well, wait a minute now. It's a wonder Arthur Blank doesn't go down there and manage the football team.
We might not be close. We might not be far off from that, though.
Oh, shit. I mean, it's kind of like what I used to hear a lot of times in studying the Bible. They have a zeal, but not according to accurate knowledge.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
The breakdown.
They want to do something, but they don't know what they're doing. And okay, fine, Arthur, but you need to get a football man up there beside you. You know,
John, and you kind of alluded to something. I mean, I've been saying the same thing for about a decade. You know, you have to have a head guy that is willing to do what's necessary to win and make it possible. He hires that general manager that makes wise decisions over a long period of time, not just one and done. You got to get a good to great coach. You have to get good to great players, and you have to be healthy. And the Falcons have not had a lot of that in the last 25 years. They really just haven't. And it's scary because if we had just a little bit of competency, we should have at least 3 Super Bowls right now, like straight up. You know what I'm saying? Because we've had enough talent to do it. You know, we just haven't had – I mean, Arthur Blank, I still say, is the person most responsible for us having that 0-5 stretch. We had no business going 0-5 to start that particular season. We all know what I'm talking about, right? So it's just things like that scares me to say what is going on this offseason right now, because it doesn't really look like we have a good idea of the path that we want to go into per this draft coming up, knowing what we got and what we don't have. And how are you going to fix all of these things? Because they're still talking about not rebuilding. Like, that's the talk. So if that's the case, like, this is going to be, again, are you about to have the best draft of all time? Because if you're not, we're in real trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because we know what we got on the free agent side so far. And unless, again, we got coaching staff is better than what we've had, I still say that. But are they that much better? Because they're going to have to be to take these free agents and say, we're going to mold them and put them out there, and they're going to do stuff, you know, that's going to be cool. So I don't know. It's haphazard. I'll just say that. That's the word. It's haphazard how they're doing stuff right now. And I just want to see them compete. But, you know, I know Cordell's like, you know, who says we're not going to compete? You know, but reality is, you know, I don't know right now. And that's scary because, again, the fans are going to be most affected by this. So it's going to be interesting how things go for sure.
And I would agree with everything you just said there, Chris. My thing, though, is I just have a hard time focusing on the owner per se, because regardless, we can't make that man sell the team. You know what I mean? And we can't change owners. And that's why my focus next does go to Rich. You know what I mean? Before you get to the general manager, because how many regimes is this man going to be allowed to oversee? At some point, you got to get him out of there and get a different football guy next to Arthur Blank at that president position. Somebody that, A, Arthur Blank need to let that person work, but B, if when it comes to these decisions that Blank has to be involved in, it needs to be somebody that Blank respects as a football guy, not somebody that's just his buddy because he's been working there for 20 years. You know what I mean? So that, to me, that's a big key. And if this regime doesn't work, there's no way Rich McKay should allow to still be around in the president capacity.
Because they're losing money, and just on the business end of it, they're losing money right now. So if that's at all important, you would think a change is going to happen. So we're going to find out soon, though. John, you still there?
Yes. I was just listening to you guys.
Oh, I was just making sure. I checked the portal. Just wanted to make sure you're still there. We didn't lose you.
Oh, okay. Thing is that, okay, whoever comes in here, and see, somebody needs to come in here, because right now, okay, I would ask the question, what's Rich McKay's job? Well, he's overseeing the building of the new Mercedes-Benz zone. He's on the committee to this, that, and the other, whatever. Okay, now you just hired a person from Mercedes-Benz, the car company, to do that. All right, so again, what is Rich McKay doing? All right, well, he's on the rules committee, and he's helping. Well, he didn't help y'all. You all were pumping sound into the Georgia Dome. Look, hey, y'all, 5 years before it was fashionable.
Yeah, that was a plan, huh? Right? Man.
Hey, we were
Congratulations, you played yourself.
You right about that.
We were pumping noise in before.
That was still amazing to me that actually happened.
And I mean, and see, the thing is that, okay, this man is doing all this stuff for him. Well, what is he doing for your team? What is he doing for your team? Okay, supposedly in Quinn's last year, he was supposed to be the big guru that, all right, Quinn was going to make a decision, or somebody was going to make a decision and pass it through him. And he would pass it back, whatever. I never heard anything. Never heard anything. So he's still just up there, sitting up there, sharing a bag of popcorn and drinking liquor with Arthur Blank up there in the suite. Okay? And it's just somebody to grab since Arthur Blank had divorced, turned his lady loose that he was dating. He can grab his shoulder. Hey, man, what the hell is going on? Or whatever. But that's not helping the football team. Okay? If you need somebody's head to chop off, since you can't chop your own head off, all right? You need somebody's head to roll because of this mess.
Yeah.
And it was only after this $38 million that he was defaulted on these PSLs about that, okay, now we got to do something. All right? Now we got to change this. Now we got to do this. And this situation with Matt Ryan, all right?
Hey, but wait, John, real quick before you move on to Matt Ryan, I just want to make one more point. That is a very good question about this. What's the Rich McKay doing? Chris, you fancy with his ticker today, too, by the way. But that's a great question because when you think about it, even when it comes to hiring coaches, they hire a search firm for that. So really, what does Rich McKay do?
Yeah. And see, the thing is, he hasn't hired the last coach or the general manager. I got a picture that I post on Facebook every now and then with Arthur Blank at the podium, Rich McKay and Thomas Dimitrov sit down, and the questions are going to Arthur Blank. Okay, Arthur Blank has to defer the questions till the other two sit down, whereas the questions are fully going to those two. Okay. Well, and then Rich, I have to defer that to Thomas because he's involved in the day-to-day situation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well then what are you doing? Okay, what is your job? Why are you here? And there have been times I've been up to Falcons camp and I've seen him, and the players, everybody love, Rich, and former players like Quincy Carter and whatever that'll be up there, Rich, blah, 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 blah. And I just want to ask, why are you up here? Why are you even being allowed on the field like you part of the team? Because you're not doing nothing.
Like he has an active function.
Yeah, I mean, and see, that's been my frustration. That's really been my frustration. And going on to the Matt Ryan situation, see, okay, the Falcons wouldn't have gotten interview one if I understand everything that they were saying, or that everybody's been saying, because there's been a lot of stuff. Because you remember they were saying Matt Ryan had a no-cut clause, a guaranteed contract, or no trade clause. No trade clause, then he did. He does, then he did. And there was just a whole bunch of stuff roiling around during that time.
Yeah, I saw it too.
He discussed. Now, my problem with this situation is, okay, you made the determination to do this year as a knee-jerk reaction to you not doing it the previous year and having somebody that you raised up, because you had at least 12 good quarterbacks in this draft, okay? You, Fontenot, you and Smith were not on the same page as what it was that was going to be drafted, all right? You let San Francisco slip up a spot and get the person that they wanted, okay? And which coincidentally, from what I was hearing, that was the person that we wanted. Otherwise, we were just going to get quote-unquote best player available. Now,
I heard the same thing, John.
I do remember that.
That we got is going to be a generational talent, no doubt. But was that what we needed at that time? Because with my opinion of Matt Ryan is that this man was held back. This man was held back because you could never get him the ball where he needed it. This man had to slow down the same way Julio had to slow down to catch the ball. You weren't placing the ball where it was that he needs to have it. All right? Now, a tight end is a piece where you finish off the team. I need a tight end in order to.
It's interesting, though, to say he's held back, John, when he was just a few yards away from the all-time rookie record for a tight end. I mean, obviously, he did have to slow down for some deep balls or whatever, but sometimes I think you guys act like these other quarterbacks are just hitting every single receiver in stride on every deep ball. If you watch a non-Falcon NFL games, you're going to see Aaron Rodgers miss a deep ball. You're going to see Tom Brady miss a deep ball. I mean, that's not an easy ball to complete. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing about Matt Ryan is that he never has done it. Okay? Matt Ryan will stare coverage over to the place that he's getting ready to throw to. Every year, except when Shanahan was down, you're telling him to stop doing that. That's how he was able to complete passes to 13 different receivers in that 2016 year. And I'm going to tell you something else, too. That 2016 year has been both a blessing and a curse for this franchise, because all fingers and arrows point back to 2016 and our incompletion of the job and to the downfall, quote unquote, of this team. 2016 was our Waterloo moment where we.
Yeah, I agree. But like I was telling Chris before you came on, I also feel like 2017 was a great opportunity to win, because that was the only time we had a top 10 defense. But because we decided to bring the drunken master offensive coordinator Sarkisian in, that killed that whole thing to me. If we would have just brought Matt LaFleur up to offensive coordinator, who already runs that system, as opposed to trying to make Sark run another man's system, I think we could have won that year. We could have been the first team to get beat in the Super Bowl and then come back and win the Super Bowl the next year. I truly believe that.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right. But the thing was that, and you're right about that part about LaFleur, but what were they saying about LaFleur? Oh, he's too young to get promoted to this. That's what the narrative was.
And that same year, he went to Tennessee to call plays. And like 2 years after that, he was head coach of Green Bay Packers, calling plays for Aaron Rodgers. So
yeah. So,
and the crazy thing, I can see, John, if we would have went and got like the hottest offensive coordinator in college or something, Sarkisian had took over for Lane Kiffin, and the only game he had called that prior season was the Alabama's loss to Clemson in the title game. So it's not like, he was just tearing it up in college. He hadn't even been calling plays that year in college. I'm trying to figure out, like, is this guy, married to Dan Quinn's sister or what? Because, I mean, it didn't make any sense to me from a football standpoint whatsoever.
True. I go along with that. And matter of fact, we were talking about, me and a couple of other people were going back and forth on Facebook about this a few minutes ago. Because, okay, you bring this man in, same way that you brought Dirk Cutter back here, and you're
Sheesh. Almost ended the show right there now. Come on now.
Hey, look, I got 2 uncles named after him.
Yeah. I just didn't understand that because he wasn't good the first time he was there. And then somebody said, well, Tampa had the number 3 offense. He wasn't even calling the plays in Tampa at that point the year before he came here.
But hey, that coaching merry-go-round, and we jump right on it. Now, I go back to the Arthur Blank, Rich McKay situation. Now, who made that decision to bring this man back? Okay, who made that decision to bring this man back? Was it Dimitrov? Man, because the thing was, the talk was, well, he and Ryan worked so well together when he was here the first time. Oh, really? Because he came back here and Ryan had to teach him another offense after teaching him Mike Malarkey's offense. And see, this year, now, Chris, to your point, this year is, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, it's a throwaway year. This is a throwaway year. You went right back to Dollar General, Big Lots, and Dollar Tree and picked up everything they got on the shelf.
Totally agree.
John, you're there. We lost you. As far as the throwaway year, I mean, by definition, it pretty much is. I mean, just outside looking in, that's what it looks like. Again, we won't know until they get on the field and see what actually transpires, of course. And again, we really won't even have a clear idea until the draft is over. As far as what other pieces they got to fill in the blanks that we still do have. And then what confidence do we have that those players per development are actually going to translate into something on the field per success, because everybody doesn't do that. You have a lot of rookies that go right in and they're starting every game. And then you have some that after 2 seasons are not even in the league anymore, right? So that's going to go a long way into it. And that's where it's like with the regime that we have now, Pease and Smith, are they going to be able to do it? And that's the worrisome part of this whole, I don't want to use the word debacle, but it wasn't supposed to be like this, And again, this also can affect things into the future as far as other players that, come into the organization after a period of time. Let's see if we can get John back in here.
He's definitely right about this kind of shopping, though. I'm talking about some of these guys, though, they're not even, I think it's $1.25 tree as far as the cost now. They're not even $1.25 tree. Some of these guys aren't even Bargain Time or Woolworths. Some of these guys, especially the Chicago Bears, they're flea market. They're Goodwill, Salvation Army. You know what I mean? Value Village, thrift store type signing. So you're right. We'll have to see what happens. I do like the demeanor of Arthur Smith. And I want to say I wasn't all the way impressed with him though, 100%, but he was definitely an upgrade over Dan Quinn. I just feel like though we need to continue to get him the type of players for him to be successful, because he does need an offensive line that can run block. He does need that, big back that can tote the load. And he does need tight ends. He has Pitts, but that's about it. I think we're going to have to get another tight end. A guy that's bigger than Pitts, maybe a guy, it's about 350, pounds. I mean, not 350, 250, 255 pounds as a tight end. A guy that can block, but also can catch. That way, you can run 2 tight ends a lot of the game, but, you kind of make Pitts a swing player where sometimes he lines up at tight end, sometimes he's in the slot, sometimes he's on the outside. But you can kind of run two tight ends, but yet you can make that two tight end set look like a three wide receiver set. You know what I mean? Depending on how you line it up. So I definitely think that, in order for Smith to be successful, we got to get the right pieces for him. As far as Fontenot goes, I just need to see a better job from him out of this year's draft. Now, when a lot of people say, well, how can you determine a draft in 1 year? I'm not. But what I can determine is the year one results were not very good from that last draft. Aside from Kyle Pitts, we didn't have very many contributions. And it was most disappointing that Richie Grant, we had 6-round picks that were getting on the field before him because, apparently he just wasn't getting it in practice. And then, we just talked about our 3rd-round draft pick who almost got Matt Ryan deceased back there.
646-652-4479. Hey, guys, I want to talk about one more Falcons note, and then I want to try to finish up on some of our topics before the show ends. Who do y'all think will be the possible quarterback of the future for the Falcons? Is it going to be a draft pick, or are we going to do something really crazy and all of a sudden trade the whole farm for somebody else that might be, wanting to leave a team that they're already on? But more than likely, it's going to be a draft pick. So who is that person? Can they pick somebody in the draft this year, later rounds, and that person could be it? Or are they going to wait till next year to get that possible person? What are y'all thoughts?
Is John back with us?
I think so. John, you back with us?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
I don't know whether the light is not that way, but boy, it will have to be. Oh man, it's going to have to be 2023. I think it's going to be 2023 draft because just like I said, you should have drafted a quarterback last year because he's number 4 pick. That quarterback drafting time or trading down time for other draft picks if you already have a quarterback. Okay, because the number 4 requires you to lose a whole bunch of doggone games to get in that top 5 slot of draft. All right, since you didn't do that, you now have to give up draft picks. And if you're in need of offensive line, defensive line, running back, wide receiver, things of that sort, you can't afford to give up too many picks for that. So you have to grab somebody in the lower round and hope somebody falls to you. Okay? Now, people with those types of intangibles, you got other teams in front of you who need quarterbacks too. Not every year, but most of the time they need quarterbacks too. Now, I'm thinking that in 2023, because I'm predicting right now, Falcons going 4-13. Right now, I'm telling you right now, that's my prediction. All right,
I think you might have it one. You might got one more game than me. I said 3-14, but after I seen the Island Boys, after I saw the Island Boys throw their support behind us, I'm just hoping we don't go 0-17.
Yeah, because man, look, with all of these question marks that we had on the team and all of the question marks we just put on the team, I don't know what we have. It's just like that big puzzle box that you used to buy a long time ago that didn't have no picture on it. You just had a whole bunch of puzzles in the box. You didn't know what was going to go with what. And this is what I'm looking at right now. This is exactly what I'm looking at right now. So, yeah, it's just the outlook for me is dim in 2022. Only thing we try to do in 2022 is survive in 2023.
What do you think, Jordan?
I'll give you 2 names. I give you a name who I like for it to be and a name who I certainly don't want it to be. Okay, I'll go ahead and go with the guy who I don't want. I want 0 parts of Baker Mayfield. Whatever you do, keep that guy away from here. Okay?
You don't want him doing no commercials in Atlanta?
No.
At Publix? Come on.
No, thank you. Because I tell you, the one guy I don't blame in the whole Deshaun Watson fiasco is Deshaun Watson, because I do feel like he made the best choice for his career. I feel like the only reason why we were in serious consideration is because he knows Mr. Blank personally. He was a ball boy here, for years as a teenager. Being that he's out of Gainesville, Georgia. But from a football perspective, to me, Cleveland has everything they need to win a Super Bowl, and Baker was holding them back. So I don't want Baker. The other guy I want to speak on is not my guy, but is the guy who most people want, and that's Bryce Young out of Alabama. He's a very talented guy, Heisman Trophy winner, but what I can't hardly get past is when he shook Stetson Bennett's hand after that national championship game. He's no bigger than Stetson Bennett is. In fact, he looked like he might be a little smaller than Stetson Bennett is. And he's not the runner that, say, Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray is, so his size limitations could be a problem. Out of the guys that's going to be available in 2023, the guy who I'm going to be watching most closely this upcoming season, who I like as of right now, is Ohio State quarterback C.J. Straub. Really like his talent. He can move, has a big arm, wins a lot of games. And I think, more of a prototypical size. So he is the guy who I'm looking at is possibly being the next Atlanta Falcons quarterback. And in this draft, like I already mentioned, Malik Willis is the only guy I like. Not certain if he's the next Josh Allen or if he's the next Jalen Hurts, though. You know what I mean? I think he's somewhere.
Hey, say Jameis Winston.
So those are the names that I have for you, Chris. And I know you're about to give your answer. And before we switch out the Falcons, though, after you give your answer, I need you guys to explain to me how Devondre Campbell leaves here and goes to Green Bay and become a first-team All-Pro player. But go ahead with your quarterback answer, Chris.
I can give you that one. That's just scheme. But anyway, as far as whether it be this year or next year, I'm kind of half and half because, again, it all comes down to who's the coach and who's developing you. Because remember, in college, they have a scheme too. They have coaching too. And so a lot of quarterbacks, all of them have talent, but it's going to be a matter of, can that talent be best put to use to where you can win games according to who all you have around you too. Some colleges have a lot more talent than other colleges do, right? So those college, stats or whatnot are going to be adjusted per who those receivers are. Do you have a running game? How that defense is playing and stopping other teams from scoring. So when you're scoring, you're going to win more than you lose, of course. When you get to the pros, of course, everything changes because everybody's faster in the pros. Everything is lickety split, right? And your plays are more complex and things of that nature. So, studying comes into play. How serious are you as a ball player to say, I'm going to be the best at my craft? And everybody doesn't come out of college like that. They just don't. They rely on their talent and they wait. It's almost as if they wait for their own development personally rather than actually pay attention to what they could right now and be developing, So it depends, if we go and get somebody this year that, has all, I guess you could say, the intangibles, quote unquote, the physical and the mental and things of that nature, it's possible to get somebody this year because, again, the draft is not guaranteed. We have 25, 30 years of number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 draft picks, and they're not in the league after 3.5 years. And you have a lot of draft picks, number 15, 16, 19, 25, all the way down to Tom Brady, and they have Super Bowls, So it's never going to be an exact science. You just want to try to get to where you're almost there and then see what happens. So again, whether it be this year or next year, I'm not on a person in particular. I mean, I see Willis, I see, Riddler, or I keep saying Ritter. Coral, they keep talking about next year, like you said. Yeah, Bryce and these others or whatnot. You're talking about durability. Again, RG3, durability. Lamar Jackson, durability. I saw that. Be careful out there. Your quarterback can't help you if they're not on the field. Matt Ryan missed 3 games his whole career. Yeah, that means he was on the field to have a Hall of Fame career at the end of the day. There's a lot of players who can't play because they're always not on the field. Kind of like in the NBA, that one guy who plays on the Lakers sometimes, right? So there's that aspect to it that I'm just, I want them to make the best decision for the franchise for the next 15 years because this is a 15-year decision that they're making, literally. Look at what Miami has gone through, right? Just think about, literally, I could throw out the Jaguars. We've talked about them plenty of times, the Jets, Now, remember, before Baker Mayfield, how many quarterbacks had the Browns had in the last 15 years straight, right? Until
A bunch of them.
kind of got a little bit solidified there for a little bit there. So, again, it's a huge decision. But, again, everything else has to work. There is no Patrick Mahomes, right? He has a Super Bowl. He hasn't won a Super Bowl since then. Aaron has a Super Bowl. He hasn't even been back to the Super Bowl since then. His team just went 13-3 3 straight years in a row, and they can't get back to the Super Bowl. So there's all those other elements that have to be involved. So I just want them to make the best choice possible per the talent, per the mental and everything. But we got to put a team around the person. Otherwise, we'll be right back in this situation again. It'll just, again, all we got to do, unplug the matrix, reboot or whatnot. We're still going to be there until they get that right. So that's just my take on it right now. And I'm just, again, I don't want to see 4-50 this year. I really don't. You know, I guess I'm prepared for it. Again, this wasn't anticipated. Didn't know this was coming. You know, the whole person who we shall not name incident happened. And, you know, before that, Julio left and, you know, and here we are and everything. And it's just a lot to process at the end of the day. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And I just want the team to be successful. I just want to see them compete. If they compete, that's at least a start. If they're not going to compete, though, then I got all kind of issues with that, obviously. So we're going to see. By the way, everybody, 646-652-4479. I know I hadn't called out the number a lot. This is a impromptu show. I'm glad we were able to get on the air. This is our first show since January. So hopefully everybody, if you're listening or watching on YouTube, make sure you follow us on IMTN Worldwide Radio on Instagram and also YouTube. Follow myself and Jordan on Twitter. I posted those, Intellect ATL or Jordan23 ATL. Make sure you do that. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, man. I totally agree, man. You know, this was such a surprise for everything to take. Can you hear me fine? Because there's a monsoon going on around me. Okay. Yeah, it was just such a surprise to see it go down that way. And I know a lot of people are, you know, saying, well, they don't blame the Falcons because, you know, Watson took the money and this and that. But my point is, like, you knew it was going to cost for that. So you cannot go all in and allow them reports to get all over the media unless you're going to close the deal. And then once you don't close the deal, now you're in a situation where you're forced to rebuild. And so, you know, I'm like you. I'm prepared for them to bite the bullet this year. And hopefully, you know, you just got to draft right, man. You just got to make good draft picks because that's the key. That's going to be the lifeblood to this organization. I know we should have a bunch of cap space coming up next year, but the way the NFL works, oftentimes the best players don't even hit free agency because of the franchise tag. And if they do, it's a situation where you still got to trade for them, like Devontae Adams, for example, who left and went to the Raiders. Which I saw this video of this high school quarterback that was throwing the ball up in the air, then running and catching his own pass. I'm thinking that's what your boy Aaron going to be doing next season. But hey, he's got an all-pro linebacker over there, Devondre Campbell, that for some reason we couldn't figure out how to get the best use out of, and he goes over there and his first team all-pro. So, you know, that's the type of stuff, when I see that type of stuff, that's just disappointing, man, as a whole when it comes to the Falcons. But, you know, ultimately, man, we'll see what they can do. All we can do is throw our support behind them, you know, but I will, like I say this, you know, if Terry Fontenot does not make the right picks, I'm going to call him a double agent. They shouldn't have hired somebody from the Saints if they didn't want me to call him a double agent.
John, final thoughts on the Falcons?
Well, you know, I got a question because I'm thinking, with the exception of Tom Brady, who has been with their team and won multiple Super Bowls? Okay, because all right, now you called out Aaron Rodgers. We called out who else? Russell Wilson.
Big Ben has two.
Big Ben, he's got two, but there were gaps between them, and he retired before he could win another one. And I mean, see, the thing is, and what I'm really trying to allude to, is it really a 15-year decision?
It's a 10-year decision, though. At least it's at least 10.
Well, and the thing is that is it 10 to be able to go to a Super Bowl or 10 to win multiple Super Bowls? Because
No, it's just 10. It's just 10 in terms of what it's going to affect your franchise for the next 10 years. And if you make the wrong pick right there, it's going to set you back, and you're going to end up being, like I said, you're going to be the Jets of the NFC if you miss on this quarterback pick. That's why this next quarterback pick is extremely important. But I will say, the better you build the rest of the team, the less important it becomes. Because if you actually have a good defense and you have a good running game, then not only does it give your quarterback a better chance to be successful, if you have to, for some reason, move on from a guy who doesn't work out, it gives you a chance to put, a veteran quarterback or somebody in and be successful. But, the veteran quarterbacks don't want to come to a team if they don't have, at least protection around them. So, it's very important that we get this right, John.
And that's why, now, see, there are a lot of people talking about Archie Manning's son or grandson or whoever it is. Now, Georgia is the first hurdle. But the Falcons better not even look that way, because you remember what Eli did down there in San Diego. Okay, what the man said, hey, don't draft me. He told him, don't draft me. I'm not playing. So that could be the Falcons scenario in about 3 to 4 years, depending upon what it is that we do.
Oh gosh, man. Have we not been embarrassed enough, John? We don't need this type of embarrassment, man.
That would be beyond embarrassment, though.
Yeah, hey, but the thing is, you're hearing talk already. Oh well, if he chooses Georgia, that'll be a perfect fit for the Falcons. Well, that's the thing is that if he does well in Georgia, he's going to go number one. He's going to be the highest quarterback pick just for the name. Okay, now we would have to be a very bad football team in order to even qualify to get him without giving up a whole bunch of draft picks to go get him. And see, that will be the team that he will play for. Someone that's good but needs a quarterback that's going to give up some draft picks to get him as a final pick. Not anyone who has lost to where they qualify for the draft pick by a bad record. No, he's not going there. And the way that we looking right now, here, April of whatever it is, 2022, we looking bad. We looking real bad.
But we're going to see. I mean, why not, though? I mean, why not go in the footsteps of Peyton? His team went 1-15. Peyton turned out all right, and Troy Aikman, he went 1-15. He turned out, he has 3 Super Bowl rings. Why wouldn't he want the challenge of that? I don't know. I think I can hear where you're coming from, but I don't want to assume that with him just yet on that. And I know the Manning name and all that kind of good stuff, but I don't think it will matter to him that much in this particular case. Eli was a special person. I'm gonna just say that. Okay. He has his 2 Super Bowls, but outside of that, I still don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But that's just me. But this new generation, I think it won't matter to him as much, especially for the fact that he saw what the young man in Cincinnati did too. I think he's going to be that person to where once he gets to that point, I think he'll accept the challenge of saying, okay, I'm the cornerstone. I'm going to make this happen, and I'm going to depend on the franchise to do their jobs too. Because that's what it always comes down to. Do your job. If everybody does their job, guess what? You have a chance to win. It ain't guaranteed, but at least you have a chance. When people don't do their job, we know what's happened. And we've seen how it's happened in other teams too. So it's going to be really interesting these next 5 years for sure, all around the league, because all the people who have been retiring and everything. Breeze is gone now. Well, Brady came back, but whatever. But, all the other guys are gone, and we have the official new bunch is out there now. And now that we've made our quarterback change, what are we going to do in our stead? So it's going to be real interesting, that's for sure.
It's so crazy because here we are when Brady retired, and we still have Matt Ryan. We were saying like, hey, we might actually have a chance to win this division. And now we got Marcus Omariataya as the quarterback with the Island Boys making. Oh, man.
I wish I had time to put the Island Boys on there like I told I would, but I didn't have time to do that today. So maybe next time. John, man, I'm glad you were able to get on, man. Our first show in almost doggone 6 months almost. Definitely, we're hoping to get regular again. So definitely you and others who are watching, who have listened to us in the past, get a chance to, join us as we continue, this year, 2022, for around the ATL, man. But great to have you again. And make sure you come back again soon, man.
Yes, sir. And guys, y'all take care of yourselves out there, man. The times are changing and things are getting a little crazy out there. So you guys, y'all take care of yourselves, man. Y'all, I want to see you guys, and especially you, Chris. Because I know you had a couple of issues or whatever, man. Just take care of yourself and do what it is that you need to do. And if you need anything, I'm just phone call away or Facebook hit away.
Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate that, man. Definitely you too, man. Okay.
Appreciate it, John. Look forward to seeing some of your football play breakdowns this upcoming season as well.
Oh yeah, well, thing is that I got to go into another gear now.
You gotta do some work. Yeah. Oh boy.
But hey, yeah, we'll get it straight. We'll get it straight. And hey, I look forward to talking to you guys about these Hawks. That's what I want to talk about here also. But whenever
definitely
next, whenever your next show is, if we get a chance to talk about the Hawks, I definitely need to holler about them. Definitely,
man. Appreciate it now.
All right.
Okay, I'm frozen.
That was one of our longtime callers there, Mr. John Harris, hailing from ATL, who definitely appreciate him. We've been on the air for 3 years, and he's definitely been one of our regular callers for sure. So we definitely appreciate him popping in like that and getting his perspective on Falcons and other things. Again, next show, definitely talk some more Hawks. That being said, I do want to try to sneak in these last few minutes 2 more topics that I wanted to try to hit on. So, of course, the Braves won the World Series last year. I know everybody saw those new uniforms. I've never actually bought an Atlanta Brave, jersey. This might be the year. That gold just right? I was just like, I don't know, man. I probably have to do this right here. So the baseball season is upon us, actually. So the regular season is about to start, and they're going to get 162 games in. They made it work. Will the Atlanta Braves be able to repeat? We lost certain players on our team. They're no longer here. We had the MVP of the World Series. He's no longer here. We've had, our league MVP. He's no longer here. Jock Peterson going crazy at the World Series event. He's no longer here. So we have a lot of people who are not here. I'll go ahead and say his name. I'll say it one time. Freddie Freeman is no longer here. He's on that other team that we really don't like. So there, I got it out, right? So can the Atlanta Braves repeat? We know what pretty much now is our starting lineup for the most part. We know Acuna is going to start off as a DH and then eventually be, gradually put back into the field. We know our pitching staff, pretty much what it's going to be. And we know Soraka is going to be coming back eventually. We don't know timetable yet still, I guess. Do we have enough, though? Do we have enough to not only compete, but actually to win it again? Now, I myself say, of course we do. Because, long term, I don't think we've actually really lost that much at the end of the day, production-wise, if everybody has a great season and we have no injuries, okay? And I think we might even be even more solid on the hitting for average side of things per however they make that lineup work. So I feel that hitting-wise, we're there. And then pitching, we might have the best bullpen we've ever had as a Braves organization, and I don't even think it's close at this point. So this offseason by AA has been like monumental in solidifying this is the team that everybody has to chase now. Okay. And so I'm excited just for that aspect, and the fans at Truist get to see these guys on a regular basis. So, Jordan, what do you think? Have we done enough in this offseason to solidify ourselves, or are the New York Mets going to win the World Series?
Oh, gosh. It's funny you mentioned the Mets because I saw a tweet where somebody was showing where 3 out of 5 CBS sports writers picked the Mets to win the National League East. And I'm just like, man, really? I think we have done enough, Chris. And I do, because when you really look at it player for player, I think Matt Olson replacing Freddie Freeman, I don't think you really lose much there from a production standpoint. Obviously, people could say that Freddie brings, more to the table in terms of experience and clubhouse leadership, but Matt Olson is from Georgia. And so I think he's happy to be a Brave, elated, and I think he's been is going to be an adequate replacement. You're replacing Soler, the World Series MVP, with Mr. Mix It Up, Marcell Ozuna. Whatever happened with him in the personal situation, the man is a good hitter of the baseball. You still got Duvall to hold it down out there in the outfield until Acuna comes back. And, you do have Acuna basically stepping into the lineup, you know what I mean? And he's the best player in the National League, if not all of baseball, in my opinion. I mean, maybe not better than Mike Trout yet. But so I do think we have enough, especially when you talk about that bullpen, Chris. Being able to add the Dodgers closer, Kenley Jansen, to this squad, and and he's being brought in to be the closer. And when Will Smith was asked about it, he was like, "Sure, bring him in. I'll pitch the 8th. I want to win. I want another parade." You know what I mean? And so when you have guys like that, I think you definitely have a shot to win. Colin McHugh is another, if I'm saying his name right, another bullpen arm we brought in. Also got Darren O'Day back on a minor league contract. The depth in this bullpen is just crazy. And that was one of the keys to me, because last year during that postseason run, pretty much every game you knew it was going to be Mentor, it was going to be Jackson, it was going to be Madzik, it was going to be Smith. Now we have a lot more options. We have all of those guys back, with the exception of Luke Jackson just got hurt. He may be out for a while. But we also have other guys that we could throw out there. And so we're not just having to depend on the same 3 or 4 guys in order to close out important games. So, yes, I think we can, Chris. Matter of fact, I mean, it's hard for me to predict another World Series championship because it takes so much to go into that. You got to plan it postseason and all that. But I will predict that we will win the National League East again. And I will predict that in terms of getting to the World Series, we will meet the Dodgers again. And whoever wins that series, whether it happened in the NLCS or the round before that, whoever wins that series will be who represents the National League in the big show, the World Series.
646-652-4479. I just want to bring up some basketball real quick. The Bulls lost again. But anyway, Rosario, we still have Rosario on the team too. I think that's a huge deal, just on the protection of the other side of the plate, and his ability to hit the ball. So again, we have one of probably the best hitting teams out there, American League or National League, especially for the fact, and this is going to be we have the DH, and again, it's going to be, we used to say, I don't know which Braves team it was. I said that we could be close to a murderer's row, kind of like the old Yankee teams or whatever. We have that now for sure. Like up and down this lineup, I mean, if everybody does what they usually do, and Raleigh or Zuna and everybody, you can't pitch around anybody. Like, you can't pitch around anybody. If they have Olsen hitting 2, like, what do you, what can you do about it? So right. It's going to be exciting as far as the hitting. We already talked about the pitching. So then it's just a matter of 162 games, and I don't believe we're going to have a stretch where we win one, lose one like we did last year. I just don't foresee that. So if that's the case, I mean, there's a possibility we could run away with it. I'm just being that confident about it, but we'll see, because we know what happened last year per injuries and the year before that per injury. So we're just going to see, but I think they know that, and I think the training staff hopefully will be thinking about that and addressing it and making things, some stuff is just, you can't get around. It's baseball, right? But the rest of it, though, some of the preventable things, hopefully they got them through those regimens enough to where they're going to be tip-top shape all season. So I believe the Braves definitely have a chance to repeat. And really, for the next decade, really, you know, they have a real shot to kind of make up for what we didn't do in the 90s, because we had the most dominant pitching staff of all time, but we only got one World Series out of it.
Yeah.
I think we have the hitting to match up with our pitching for sure. You know, we're not going to have no holes where we're hitting 208 in the world. That's not ever happening, not with this lineup. And the younger guys, they're just going to get better. You know, Olsen is here for 8 years, right? So he's not going anywhere. You know, you got Riley, and again, you're going to have to figure out how to keep some of these guys or whatever. But I think you can keep your cornerstones. You know, and we're going to be generating the money to do it. That's not going to be a question. Like, I think we're really looking good as far as that goes. We got 10 minutes. Any other Braves notes that you want to think about?
Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Jock Peterson, man. Gonna miss that guy, man. I mean, you know, you're a bad man when you got a whole bunch of grown men running around town wearing pearl necklaces. You know what I mean? But don't be surprised if you see either Jock or Soler, if we somehow need another bat come trade deadline time. Don't be surprised if you see either one of those guys back. I think Jock possibly, even though he's on a better team, the reason why I think Soler is definitely a possibility because he could follow the Duvall route where he ended up going to the Marlins, sign up with the Marlins and being traded right back to Atlanta. So don't be shocked on that, sir. But definitely think that we got a good chance to win this thing. And I definitely say that this is not going to be – we're not going to have to wait as long for our next World Series as we waited for this past one. That's for sure.
Definitely. Well, final topic of the night, and again, appreciate everybody watching on YouTube for the IMTN Worldwide Radio page on YouTube, and also listening on Blog Talk Radio Live right now. Appreciate it. Thanks for John for calling in as well.
Yes.
Anybody who watches the show or listens to it after the fact, once I post it, definitely, you know, try to stay up with us because we're going to come back regularly really soon. I don't know when. Don't quote me on it just yet, but we're coming back soon. So the last topic now, again, around the ATL is about Atlanta sports and also Georgia sports. So guess what? There's a sport coming up that's in the state of Georgia, and you know what it is. The Masters. You already hear the music in the background from CBS, right? So there's this kind of
a tradition unlike any other.
There you go. There's a phrase, catchphrase. There's a little bit of a rumor. Haven't played that in a long time. Had to play it. So Tiger Woods, y'all, might play. He says it's a tea time decision, I guess, because as of now, I just tried to look, and it still hasn't said yes or no yet as far as he's going to be out there. I guess, of course, he has the cachet to be able to make that decision, of course, because he's Tiger Woods. But this is like almost the first time we've really heard from him in a while. So for him to pop up must mean he's healthy enough to do it. You know, because he, you know, remember the accident, and that was like months ago now. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but apparently for him to be that confident to say it's a game time, that probably means he could play. It'll be great to see him out there. I know I saw a clip of the practice round he was doing. It was like 7 million people out there.
Yeah, I was
like, the golf course is going to fall into the earth with people out there. What are you doing? But it'll definitely be a big kick to see him back out there again because he's not finished yet. You know, I know a lot of people probably think he is, but he proved a couple years ago that he ain't because he won the Masters. So you can't ever count him out just because of who he is. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, I'll actually get to see some of it because since I work from home, I can actually watch it while I'm working. So that'll be pretty cool for me to actually watch the Masters for the first time in a long time, actually all the way through. What do you think, Jordan? You think he's going to play or not?
I think so, man. I don't think he would have made the trip down here and been out there in the practice round if he didn't plan on playing. But it was quite wild, man, to see that many people, you know, lined up for him on a practice green. Just incredible, man. Just a living legend. And you know, I mean, he went a long time without playing and came back and won a Masters. And so it wouldn't surprise me if he competes for this one, to be honest with you. It probably will surprise me a little bit if he wins it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he comes back and it's competitive because when he's on his game, man, he's the best. He's the best golfer to ever do it for my myself.
And then the crazy thing about it will be, everybody who's prepared to go into this Masters, who they are and everything like that. But then all of a sudden, Tiger is playing. That's different because now it's like, okay, well, that's Tiger Woods right there. See, that changes the mindset that you have to even play golf, the concentration and everything. But now you got Tiger looming over you, and then the Tiger crowd. You know what I'm saying? That right? It's intimidating. It is what it is, and it's like it's going to be pretty cool to see that again because we hadn't seen it in such a long time. And again, he hasn't retired yet, so until he retires, he's still who he is. He's the best has ever done it, except for Jack, of course. Right? And I know he still wants to win those couple to at least tie Jack, if not still get over the hump. Because he was right there until all the stuff, So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. So I wanted to at least bring it up because, again, it's a huge event every year, and the pandemic, of course, slowed the road as far as the excitement of it because all of a sudden you doing a Masters with no people out there. It was not the same, obviously, but now you do. And then you got Tiger on top of that, right? And then the beginning of the baseball season on top of that. And, all these things are then NBA playoffs right after, So this is that time of the year where, throwing the Tiger factor in there is pretty cool to, have that in there. So I had to mention that tonight. We'll get to see if he shows up tomorrow tea time, and then we'll go from there. Any final thoughts? We got a few minutes, Jordan. Again, thanks for being available tonight to do a quick show. Talked Falcons, we talked some Hawks, we talked some Braves, of course, and Little Masters. Any final thoughts before we sign off tonight?
I do, sir. Don't have a whole segment tonight, but I just got a couple of jewels for you, and they're both regarding the superstar, Mr. Trae Young. One jewel is if he had enough games to qualify for the all-time assist lead in assists per game, he would rank number 7 of all time in assists per game. Only Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, and Kevin Johnson have a higher assist per game total for their careers than Trae Young does, and his numbers are still going up. Last I saw, he was up to 9.7 assists per game this season. And of course, we know his rookie season is the only year that brought him down. Other jewel I have regarding Trae Young is this, okay? Only 5 players in NBA history have averaged, and I looked this up because we were talking about the other day about him possibly being able to average 30 and 10 or lead the league in assists and scoring. Only 5 players in NBA history have ever averaged 28 points or better and 9 assists or better ever in a season. That's Oscar Robertson, who's done it 8 times, Nate Tiny Archibald, who did it twice, James Harden did it once, Russell Westbrook did it once, and Trae Young's done it twice. So that makes him one of only 3 players to do it multiple times, 28 and 9 multiple times. He's pushing up on 28 and 10. Yeah. There's only 3 players. There's only 3 players to average 28 and 9 while shooting 45% from the floor or better. That's Trae Young, Nate Tiny Archibald, and Oscar Robertson. Only 3 players. Now, when you add one more caveat to it, players to average 28 points, 9 assists, to shoot 45% from the field, and to shoot at least 35% from three-point range, there's only one player that's done that, and that is Trae Young this season who's doing that. And so how are you going to tell me that this man may or may not be all NBA and that this man is not in the MVP conversation when he's doing something only 5 players in history have done, all of which the other 4 are going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's right now doing something no other player has done when you add in the efficiency to it. The way that this man has moved his efficiency to another level is incredible. This man is a flat-out superstar. This is no longer a debatable point, ladies and gentlemen. And so all we have to do now is continue to build a championship team around this man because Trae Young is ready, ladies and gentlemen. He is a championship-level ball player. That's all I got, sir.
Thank you for that reminder again, Jordan. And NBA,
Congratulations. You played yourself.
On that note, we got to close out of here, folks. Again, thanks to all that watched and listened on IMTN Worldwide Radio today on YouTube and also Blog Talk Radio. Make sure you follow us on the Twitter, Jordan23ATL, Intellect ATL, and of course the radio page, IMTN Radio. Follow on Instagram and Facebook, IMTN Worldwide Radio. Until next time, don't worry, guys. We're going to get back regular. We just got to figure it out, but we're almost there.
A lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. A lot going on.
We are going to work on it, but until next time, y'all take care. And with that being said, let's see if we can get the intro, outro finished.
And as always, I got to thank God for giving me this breath that I breathe to talk about these Atlanta and these Georgia sports that I love.